Yeah, it's definitely a sad day for America and also a day for the history books. This is not something that will be forgotten quickly. We know that Donald Trump is fine after he was covered by the Secret Service agents and then taken off. He was whisked away to a local medical facility where he was checked over. And whilst he was there, he posted on his social media platform, Truth Social. In that post, he sent his condolences to the victims' families and also said, "I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening." Well, he was then released from the medical facility and whisked away out of the area. We've had it confirmed to us by the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, that he no longer is no longer in the area of Butler. And we also know that he's been contacted by Joe Biden, who's had a word with him to see that he was okay. That's also something that's happened within the last hour and a half or so. So a developing situation, but Donald Trump safe and a very lucky escape, at least for him.
And Fraser, the FBI saying just a few minutes ago that it's tentatively identified the shooter. What more do we know about the suspect?
Yeah, the FBI is not confirming media reporting at the moment. They are not giving away his identity, but we've had reports from various US media outlets, chiefly CNN, who were reporting that the shooter was a 20-year-old man from Pennsylvania. As of yet, the FBI say they haven't managed to figure out a motive for the shooting, but they have got a big team working on it, and they are bringing in resources from outside of Pennsylvania as well. They're pulling things from the local offices in Philadelphia, but also here in DC and at Quantico, the FBI headquarters as well. So they are starting to pool those resources. They are still investigating, but they have now confirmed that this was an assassination attempt. Before, it was being reported that it had been investigated as such. Now the FBI confirming that, and also that means that it seemingly is confirming the earlier eyewitness reporting that we had on the BBC of people who saw a man in muted clothing climbing on top of a building, the roof of a building, just about 60 or so meters away from where the rally was taking place. So that reporting there seemingly confirmed as well.
And world leaders, Fraser, have been condemning the attack. Joe Biden, we also heard a little bit from him before we came to you. Just talk us through the political reaction in the US among both Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, well, of course, Joe Biden, probably the most important one, calling for unity, saying that violence has no place in politics in America. That also is something backed up by Barack Obama, who said we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt. Also on the Democratic side, Nancy Pelosi, who herself knows what violence in politics is like. Remember, her husband was attacked with a hammer and said, as one whose family has been the victim of political violence, I know firsthand that political violence of any kind has no place in our society. I thank God that former President Trump is safe. There's also been international reactions coming in as well from all over the world, including Europe. We've had Keir Starmer, Georgia Maloney expressing their concerns, as well as Narendra Modi in India and Prime Minister Kishida in Japan. So a really unifying message coming from world leaders that this kind of attack, it has no place in politics, regardless of where it is, and deep concern being spread out as well in the wake of this attack.
And finally, Fraser, Trump's campaign, it says he's due to attend the Republican convention as planned next week. But this is bound to fuel tensions ahead of the election, isn't it? Could it be a turning point in the campaign, do you think?
Yeah, well, the political blame game has already started. Donald Trump Jr., Donald Trump's son, has blamed what he called the radical left for this attack. J.D. Vance, who is arguably one of the closest people to being Donald Trump's pick for vice president, he blamed the rhetoric that Joe Biden's campaign has been putting out for this attack. And many people are actually hoping that right now, given such a heated situation that we're in, that the national temperature just cools down a bit. And although you might might be forgiven for wanting to think too politically at the moment. It must be said that it is already starting. Some analysts think that this could actually be the thing that wins Donald Trump the election. That is also what we're hearing from some Republicans on the Hill. Those iconic images that have been taken this evening by my colleagues at the White House, including Evan Vucci, Doug Mills from the New York Times, and Anna Moneymaker as well. Those iconic images of him in the immediate aftermath of that attack are likely to get used by Donald Trump in his campaign messaging going forward. And if you need to see what kind of keen political mind Donald Trump is, you can just listen back to the immediate seconds after the shooting takes place when he tells the Secret Service agents around him to wait, so that he can put his hand in the air and mouth the words "fight, fight, fight" to his supporters to rapturous applause. So Donald Trump thinking politically even after such a close attempt on his life, it must be said. So it is likely to be a turning point. Of course, this is something that both sides are terrified would happen, and hopefully will bring down the political temperature at the moment, because I think, there's been a lot of rhetoric going back and forth over the course of the last few months, but something like this really should be a moment where people come together and think this has no place, regardless of your politics. This kind of event has no space within society.